Calling this meeting to order. Almost everybody's here. Mr. Stroll is the only absent board member at this point. Do we have any public comment on closed session items?
Yes.
Go for it.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Young. As you adjourn to closed session this evening, the confidential unit is hopeful that board will consider allocating funds towards an increase to our $123 per month health benefits cap. From looking at the final agreements granted to the employee groups that have settled, we noticed that each group has received something above and beyond the 5% COLA and one-time money allotment. We originally asked for an additional $800 per month towards our health benefit cap. However, we are open to even half of that as a temporary remedy, as the current amount is a monthly hardship for the employees that are even able to take insurance. Additionally, this low cap acts as a deterrent to recruitment efforts when there is an opening in our unit. Current CSEA employees looking for a promotional position and outside candidates who may want to apply for jobs in our unit do not apply. As an example, the last confidential job opening in the superintendent's office garnered only 2 candidates. The confidential unit is currently 14 members, some of whom are here this evening to introduce themselves so that you can put a face to who we are. If you'd like to come up and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good evening, my name is Maggie Ramirez and I am a personnel analyst in personnel department.
Hello, my name is Raquel Alvarado and I'm also a personnel analyst.
Good evening, my name is Mary Diaz and I'm a budget analyst.
Good evening, my name is Sophia Palmer and I'm a budget analyst.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Okay, we will adjourn to closed session then. Where are we going? call this meeting to order because it's 7 o'clock. Yeah, okay. Roll call, all board members with the exception of Mr. Stroh are present. And all 3 student reps are here. How about, let's see. Ms. Del Prado, how about lead us in pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Items that happen that can be reported on, please, in closed session. Some appointments were made. Dr. Ball motion and Mr. Nava seconded, and the board approved the appointment of Jennifer Giras as the elementary principal effective for the 24-25 school year. And the location to be determined at a later time. It was 6 ayes, 0 noes, and 1 absent.
Mr. Connect
Did I
said,
say that wrong?
nope, you said it perfectly. I just want to clarify for the record, Mrs. Kiris made the request. It was her request to be a part of the elementary team, and her future, we are going to be placing her as a principal at Park Lane Elementary School. And she has a desire, although she is hired as a elementary principal, she will be assigned to Park Lane Elementary. And it is at her request that she wants to be a part of supporting Park Lane and building that school community up. So I just wanted to make sure that was clarified.
Okay.
And we will be bringing back to you to unfund the LCAP administrative position that she is currently in at the district office.
Okay, cool. All right, we have a conference with legal counsel. We had claim number 636210, Mr. Porter motion, Mr. Nava second, and the board rejected claim 63210 by a vote of 6 yes, 1 no, or 0 no's and 1 absent. Mr. Young, give a report for us?
Yes, real quickly, as we return to school, there's a lot of buzz all across the country about the eclipse upcoming. And I know that these glasses will be going out across the district for students. They're very ineffective without the sun and or an eclipse. But these will be going out because this is a great opportunity for our students, our school sites. You should even have your own pair up there. They're Gucci, they're very nice,
Yeah.
and so we look forward
I've been trying them.
to April 8th and participating in this unique event. And although I wish this were the epicenter, I believe students are actually taking the day off in Texas because of the millions of people showing up in the Waco, Temple, Austin area to be a part of the true eclipse, which I believe will last 4 minutes and 32 seconds. So, with that, hopefully we all get to enjoy this unique opportunity. These don't come around all that often.
No, really don't.
And I have nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Our student reps, Ms. Hamad, do you have anything from Mill College?
Yes. So good evening, President Knackstad, members of the board, and Superintendent Young. As the school year is coming to an end, clubs are preparing for the upcoming school year. There are board nominations, elections, and interviews happening, all which began last week and will continue through the month of April. Academic Decathlon and Tabletop Games will be holding a crossover event known as Acadec Game Night. This year's theme will be Star Wars, which highlights Acadec's topic for this year, technology and humanities. This is where they will host fundraisers, as well as scavenger hunts, super quizzes, and lastly, a Mario Kart tournament. Music Club has also collaborated with Culture Club in hosting a talent show along with their semesterly cultural cuisine. They are working on gathering auditions, planning decor, and organizing their catering services. They are proud to announce that all food catered this year will be offered for free. Last but not least, Programming Club is currently working with Middle College alumni in hosting a guest speaker night. This is where they hope to educate members on life after high school, as well as various other topics which the members might have questions about. Student government hosted their annual spring rally, which displayed various talent acts, class spirit battles, and valley games, which brought back many childhood memories. The games included hot potato, musical chairs, and tug of war. The highlight of this year's spring rally was a surprise gender reveal for one of our teachers, Kirsten Funkhauser. Our student government advisor, Heather Bonalos, Vice President Jeanette Bermudez, and myself organized a tug of war gender reveal. I am proud to say Team Boy won, so a big congratulations goes to her. Now, as we are halfway through our school year, we are busy at work planning for our prom, which will be hosted at Hutchins Creek Hall. I am excited to announce this year's theme, which will be Night on the Bayou, which is Princess and the Frog inspired. We also had 2 promposal group winners from our promposal competition, which ended March 10th. Our ticket sales were last week from March 25th through the 28th. Staff members and students hosted freshman interviews, which resumed through March 5th through the 7th. I am proud to say we had a chance to interview over 130 prospective freshman candidates. Interview panelists enjoyed meeting the students, and now our admin staff will be busy making the final decisions. Moving on to accomplishments, congratulations goes out to our very own Middle College High School's academic team, which is advised by Mrs. Ramirez. They placed 3rd place overall in academics and 2nd place in super quiz. A shout out goes to the following students for meddling in various topics: Mylan Tran, Michaela Reyes, Julia Yang, and Jada Gao. Finance and Economics has been busy at work preparing their members for the annual National Economics Challenge. Their executive coach and director have been hard at work creating lesson plans and games regarding macroeconomics, microeconomics, and current world affairs. Finance Economics has been dedicated to improving financial literacy throughout the entire school year. And as for upcoming events, Culture Cuisine Times Music Club will be hosting their event on April 3rd. Academic Star Wars Game Night will be on April 5th. Spring Kickback will be on April 6th. And then lastly, prom will be on April 20th. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. When is your graduation?
May 17th.
It's one of the first ones.
It certainly is. And just out of curiosity, what does next year look like for you once you leave Middle College High School?
I am planning on going to UC Berkeley as a cell and molecular bio major.
That's it?
Okay, how about Mr. Prado? What's going on at Bear Creek?
Alrighty, I'm happy to be back after spring break. This is quite the lengthy report, so bear with me. Good evening, President Knackstead, members of the board, Superintendent Young. All right, I'm very happy to report that International was a huge success. ASB sold 5,358 tickets at our International Carnival, supporting about 20 of our Bear Creek clubs. Multiple clubs even completely sold out of their food at their stands. Night Rally had a full house and a thankfully smooth sailing rally. Ms. Torres and I would like to extend a very special thank you to those who attended our rally, and ASB hopes to see you next year. Our Commissioner of Sports, Sophia Ochoa, is hard at work preparing for Powder Puff season. On the last day of 3rd quarter, we announced Powder Puff coaches. This is quite the list. So, our junior cheer coaches are Shania Bautista, Aaliyah Perez, Ariana Negretti, and Naylani Reese. Our senior cheer coaches are Michael Quedens, Isabella Midgley, Mia Canton, and Gianna Dakanai. The junior football coaches are Oscar Suarez, Makai Hill, Tyler Campos, and Adrian Bankston. And finally, the senior football coaches are Luke Santamariana, Alexander Mata, Samuel Broger, Alex Guerra, Chandra Hall, and Andrew Prusik. Practices are every Wednesday and Friday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. until our game on May 19th. Our first practice is tomorrow. Yay! Our junior class president, Adeline Chun, and her junior class assembly are excited to announce our prom theme as Belle of the Ball, a Beauty and the Beast themed prom at Brookside Country Club. Prom will be on April 20th from 7 to 11 p.m. Prom ticket sales will start on April 1st and end on April 19th. Tickets are $70 for singles and $130 for couples. They will be available online at the BC Web Store during both lunches in the student store. Nomination forms will open on the 8th and voting will begin on the 15th. All right, night. And then for special student/staff accomplishments, last quarter, in honor of Women's History Month, every morning of March during the announcements, a BC Women staff member was selected for a shout out highlighting their experience and accomplishments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Now, question, not question, but a comment. Excellent assembly. I almost thought that the whole student body participated in that. There was a lot of people that participated in it.
Yes, we had almost 1,000 members, club members, I think. Yes.
That's quite amazing. Thank you.
And Ms.
Okay,
Del Prado, before we move on, what is next year looking like for you?
I plan to enroll in CSU Northridge and LA. I forgot the word. Majoring in sociology.
Good job. Good job.
Okay, Mr. Gallar.
Alrighty, good evening, President Knaxet, members of the board, and of course, Superintendent Young. Student government, we're hitting the ground running for a hectic fourth quarter. We've got many fun activities planned for our students. Currently, we are in the process of approving graduation adornment requests sent in by different clubs and organizations on campus. Our goal this year is to have as many students as possible wearing a cord or stole at the ceremony in May. As for performances, presentations, and events, the Lodi High Theater is hard at work putting on this quarter's play, Grease. The opening night is April 24th, and we hope to see you there. As for academics, the juniors, unfortunately for them, are beginning state testing on Tuesday next week. As for the other three grades, we're all pretty happy to have block scheduling coming up for the next two. Student government, in celebration of their state testing, are posting show what you know signs around campus with fun facts to encourage our juniors to do their best for the testing season. Additionally, AP testing is coming up at the beginning of May. As for athletics, Lodi is currently putting together a committee to name the new pool and aquatics center. Upcoming activities and events that your student government is putting on: we have prom May 4th, Powder Puff May 11th, and Senior Sunset is coming up. We currently do not have a date. However, our Senior Sunset will include a barbecue and yearbook signing party. As for senior fun, college decisions are rolling out, and we're getting to see where many of our flames are headed in the fall, and Senior Awards Night is the evening of May 16th. I also have a letter from the Lodi High student government class regarding a concern that many of our students and parents have had. This is to the Lodi Unified School Board and the City of Lodi. As the student government class at Lodi High School, we are writing to bring attention to a pressing concern regarding the safety of students at the intersection of Elm Street and Pacific Avenue. The traffic volume during school hours creates an unorganized and unsafe situation for those attempting to use the intersection. Students and parents have reported concerns regarding their difficulties that they have experienced while attempting to cross safely and/or drive through. We also have had personal experiences where cars and pedestrians alike have had close calls with one another. We would like officials to consider that not only our high school students are affected by the difficulty of the intersection, but some students who attend Reese Elementary and Millswood Middle School are also impacted by the traffic in the area. We understand that ensuring the safety of students is of paramount importance, and we would like to offer a suggestion to address this matter. We believe that making the intersection a four-way stop would alleviate the issue while having the following benefits: improved safety, reduced speed of vehicles, and improved accessibility for students with disabilities or mobility challenges to navigate the intersection. By implementing this proactive measure, we can create a safer environment for students navigating the intersection of Elm and Pacific. We would welcome the opportunity to further discuss and collaborate with city officials to address this issue effectively. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and we look forward to working together to prioritize student safety in our community.
Okay,
I
thank
have a
you.
question, Lucas. You have senioritis?
Oh boy, of course I do.
Oh, of course you do. I was going to tell your requester for safety of all students in all elementary
Yes.
schools. Mr. Young, can you take care of that for us? Or?
Yes, although I don't think I will be standing out in the middle of the
No,
road.
you won't.
But we are aware, and Lucas has done a great job of sharing that, and it's an opportunity for the 2x2 in Lodi to have some conversations, but more than that, understanding the process by which the city would need to consider changing that walkway. I do want to point out that I had a brief conversation with Mrs. Wise. Did point out that evidently we have a budgeted position as a crossing guard as well, so we need to look into that also. Okay? So we will, I know that Peter Lambert will be having conversations with the school site, and we'll be following up with the board to have that 2x2 as well, as we look forward to coming up with a new plan. So thank you.
And thank you for bringing that to our attention. I can tell you that's, even back in my day when I was teaching there, that's always been a bad intersection. It's a good plan, good idea. Okay, thanks. Any other comments? Ms. Alexander?
Real quick, on prom, what was the theme for prom and where is it going to be?
Oh, it will be at Hutchins on the 4th, and the theme is Prom Under the Stars.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Lucas, what does next year look like for you after senioritis ends?
I can, with 99% confidence, say that I will be attending UCLA to study political science.
Cool.
Awesome, Lucas. Good.
All right. All right, that's it. Okay, we're moving on to employee reps. Each employee group representative shall limit their comments to 5 minutes. Do we have any employee groups that would like to speak? CSEA would, okay.
Thank you. Good evening. Desiree Wise, CSEA. Just to respond to what Mr. Young said, I haven't done my fact checking on that, but I'm pretty sure that there was a position approved for the crossing guard for Lodi High School, so I will throw that out there. As you know, we did recently reach a tentative agreement. It's not what CSEA was hoping for, but we did go ahead and sign our agreement. And we will be, we're slated to ratify April 11th, and our proposal should be before you at the next board meeting for your approval. And just a quick question, Mr. Young. On Jen Harris's position, you used the word unfunding. Does that mean you will no longer, that position will not be filled?
Yes, that's just a way of saying it will not be a budgeted FTE anymore. It'll be unfunded, so there will be no position. So the position she was in will no longer exist.
Okay. I'll talk with Dr. Sully on her support staff and what happens there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other LEA? Okay.
President Knaxted, members of the board, excuse me, Mr. Young, still trying to get back into the right time zone here. LEA has a bargaining session tomorrow, and I want to invite all of the board members to attend. And I think in light of some actions that Mr. Young did yesterday, I think it's necessary. Mr. Young used his bully pulpit to send out a letter to all teachers in the Lodi Unified School District to talk about bargaining. Considering that, and he described it as, he acknowledged that tensions exist because no settlement has been reached in negotiations between the district and LEA. Sending a message like this undermines bargaining and can be construed as it undermines the bargaining. And we have sent a cease and desist letter to Mr. Young, which he received this afternoon, and I hope that he continues to cease and desist. He's also doing a targeted PR campaign. I've seen the articles in the Lodi Sentinel and now CBS 13 News, which again undermines bargaining. I've created PR campaigns. I know what a targeted PR campaign looks like. Don't say, oh, we're just doing this. No. I get it, okay? I get it. And I'm just gonna say I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. Mr. Young should know, as your superintendent, he should know what's okay to do in bargaining and what's not. And he is violating California collective bargaining codes. So I encourage you as a board to tell him to continue to cease and desist this behavior. Secondly, I feel like the cabinet and some members of the board are treating LEA like the mongrel dog, or treating actually all of your employees like the mongrel dog, all of your bargaining groups. I'm not gonna say all employees, because some employees did very, very well, okay? Mr. Young gets a guaranteed 3% this year and next. He's gonna make more than that 3% than some of our CSEA members make in a year. And we're supposed to just take the bone and be happy and trot along our merry way. And let me just tell you, that's just not okay. You won't even talk about updating language. We don't even have, we have a new classification of teacher. We have TK teachers. You guys won't even get the language to protect them into our contract. How is that not okay? We had 97 teachers. 30 something, I can't remember off the top of my head, over 30 of them were special ed that were unfilled last year. Next year, we're going to have over 40 special ed positions unfilled. And part of it is because our contract is pretty bad. We don't have some language that nearby districts have to protect our special ed teachers. We can't even get that across the table. The district is not interested. They only want to talk about money. We have other things we want to talk about. We want to get better maternity leave so we can attract and retain younger teachers. How is that not in the best interest of the district, especially when the cost is budget dust to do what we're proposing? How is that not in the best interest? So that mongrel dog that you keep throwing the bone to and saying, oh, you should take it and be happy, pat your head and walk away. Remember, that mongrel dog can turn around and bite. And sometimes they do. Thank you.
Any other groups? No, that's it? Okay. Moving on to comments from the public. A 20-minute time period has been set aside for the public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda. Each public speaker shall limit their comments to 3 minutes. The board cannot engage in dialogue about the public comment because of the restrictions placed by the California Brown Act. Make sure you give us your first and last name. I only have one card. Anna Garcia, you're up.
Hi, Ann Suela Garcia, Julian Morgan Elementary, community member. I'm disappointed that the community people I work for don't value the people that work for them. I'm disappointed that our students are not valued because the people we work for won't discuss the needs that they have. I'm disappointed that our reputation is being sullied, making us look like we're only asking for money when we're asking for lots of other things. I'm frustrated for the new teachers. So I've been teaching for 34 years. I'm all the way over and all the way down on the salary schedule. I don't need units. I couldn't get units if I wanted to. I took ECE credits to teach TK. If I want to do that later, they don't count for anything. I just took them so that I would be qualified. But we have teachers that are trying to move over on the pay scale. Because how do teachers get money if they need it? Longevity. Why do teachers stay with the district? Because they're happy there. COLA, it's given to them. Salary, a raise. So I say every year, and Ms. McFarland has heard me every year, I every year take a pay cut because every year my insurance goes up and I don't get COLA or I don't get a salary increase. So every year I take a pay cut. So that pay cut has already come. 34 years of teaching, I take a pay cut. I've been taking a pay cut since 25 years. But our new teachers are trying to get over on the pay scale so they can take care of their families. They are being rejected left and right for their units unless someone goes to bat for them. And I'm confused, why do they have to go to bat for them? What's the policy? It's a secret policy. Teachers College provides you so many teachers, yet you don't take their professional development. It is insulting. University Specific provides you so many teachers. Actually, they often choose to go someplace else. They provide you so many teachers, but you don't take their professional development. That's insulting. I'm connected to the UOP by being an alumni. I'm connected to Teachers College by being an instructor. You don't, because it's not towards a master's or it's not towards a degree. Some people can't afford that. They have to take care of their mom after school. They have to take care of their kids. Who are we? Who are we? I bet you teachers up there took classes that weren't a degree. I took classes from Sean Allen and Tom and Gary Fujihara, and they made me a better teacher. My friend can't go to Williamsburg and take a class and get credit because it's not a degree, even though it'll make her a better 5th grade teacher. Who are we? I don't know who we are. It has me thinking that I need to pack my stuff, and I live 2 minutes from my school, 34 years here. I don't know who we are. Every day, it's like, I thought there was going to be change. There's not change, it's the same. And we have blinders on thinking there's going to be change. Who are we? What's our reputation? Do you not like your employees? Do you not like your employees? Do you don't think they value? Are they not important? You told me you were going to work for us. You told me that on the phone. We're going to work for you. I don't feel that. I feel like I'm in a boat all by myself with my people. I don't know who we are.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to consent agenda A. Again, the public may address the board on consent agenda A, which is routine business. Each public speaker shall limit their comments to 3 minutes. Is there anybody who would like to talk about consent agenda A? Okay. And, all right. Board, is there? Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, President Connected. I was sorry. Members of the board, Superintendent Young. I would like to pull item A2.
We don't have these guys pull. They just speak to it. They're not.
As staff, she can pull it if it needs to come back at a later time.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
My bad. I saw that written down in red and I didn't. Okay. Any other items, board?
Yes, on item A7.
A7.
I'd like to pull 4 policies because of the revisions.
When we get to A7, we'll talk about it.
Do you want to remember? Should I get
I think when we talk about that specific, at this point, we're pulling A7. When we get to A7, you can get into details of what you would like removed.
Thank you.
That it?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the rest of routine agenda A.
Second.
Okay. All right. Do we have electronic voting ready to go? Okay, electronic voting. Oh, student votes, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, now board vote.
Thank you.
Okay. The vote was 6 yes, 0 no, 1 absent. Mr. Stroh is absent. And Edith, are we going to talk about this? Okay.
President Connected, members of the board, Superintendent Young. I'd like to amend the motion to approve by removing item 1 and approving all others. Merrimack Energy will come back on a future contracts list.
What is item 1?
Item 1 is Merrimack Energy Group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So approving all others excluding item 1.
Any board comments?
Motion to approve all items except number 1.
Second.
Okay. Student vote?
Aye.
Aye.
And board vote? And that is approved 6-0, 1 absent. Okay, where are we? Oh, Ms. Alexander, you wanted to pull number 7.
Yes, I just would like to pull the following policies because of revision clarifications that I need to still receive on those. Policy 3230, policy 3320, policy 3452, and policy 3515.4. And to have those revisions brought forward and
We will bring those back at a later date.
At a later date,
And we'll address the specific concerns that you.
perfect.
Yep.
Do we need to vote on that?
I make a-
We approve the rest of A7.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, student vote then,
Aye.
Aye.
and board vote.
Ms. Young, do we need to vote on the tabling of that?
Well,
On
she
what?
did,
She pulled those out.
okay, we'll bring them back yeah, it was just removed, so we don't technically have to bring it back next board meeting, but the intention would
We have
be.
to vote on them being removed.
I do not believe so. Under this, we're just bringing forward the ones for approval, the rest will come back at a later date. So I don't believe, Valerie, no. Okay, so the amended motion was for the remaining board policies
Cut
to
that
be
part,
approved.
I'm wondering about this part that we now are tabling.
We're not tabling, we're removing.
To get the vote.
For a later time.
Okay, thank
For
you.
a later time, yeah.
Okay, just clarification.
Okay.
Will it come back as a board report again or an action item? Action.
At this point, it would come back as an action, but we need some clarification, provided everyone in public to understand why that is coming back. So that will be when Mr. Khan brings that back, hopefully at the next meeting.
Good, thank you.
Okay, moving on to other action item number 1, it's the approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Lodi Education Association, school closure due to state of emergency.
I can go ahead and, yeah, we are seeking approval of this memorandum of understanding. This is with LEA and specifically as it pertains to school closures due to state emergency.
Okay.
It's for your approval.
Okay, is there any comments from students? Any public comments?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve this resolution. Second.
Okay. Student vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and board vote? Okay, it is approved 6-0, 1 absent. Okay, we have a report. First report is increasing the number of high school students participating in the AG requirements. Mr. Lambert. Oh, yeah.
Good evening, President Knackstead, Superintendent Young, members of the board. Before you have a report in which we would like to get guidance and input from the board in reference to increasing our A through G opportunities for our students in the Lodi Unified School District. We have representatives from our principals as well as teachers here who will talk about our plans and get some guidance and input from the board. Our goal is to prepare our students for college and career prospects, to increase our number of students taking rigorous A through G courses, to increase district-wide systems of support, and to address the issues that have been brought up within all of the WAS reports that have recently been done at our high schools. We also would like to explore options to the 6-period day, which includes some of the block scheduling options. If you'll go to the next slide, please. We're also going to present to you some data that you've been provided before, in which we will show that our students in the Lodi Unified School District are on the California dashboard are scoring lower than the statewide average, and we think that we can greatly improve that and again give our students better opportunities. Our goal is to surpass the state average and have our students performing beyond the county, the state, and continuing to increase their opportunities. Some of the indicators on the college and career measurement there are 8 indicators. Next slide, please. There are 8 indicators that we look at, and they are from the Smarter Balanced summative assessments, students taking advanced placement AP courses and the exams, any students that International Baccalaureate program, students taking college and career courses, students that are given the state seal of biliteracy, students entering into leadership and military service, also students that go through our career technical education pathways, as well as our students that are taking the rigorous A through G classes, which are for the University of California system and the California State University system. Those students, those classes have been approved and are qualified to get our students into and be prepared to enter into college. And so next, Mr. Dawson will provide some information about the data to support our plan.
Good evening, President Knackstadt, members of the board, Superintendent Young. In front of you, you have some data, which we've shared before. This chart shows A through G rates for our 4 comprehensive high schools, Middle College High School, and district-wide, and comparing that to San Joaquin County and the state of California. I do want to point out for Middle College High School, you see an A through G rate of 0 for 2019-2021, and for Tokay High School, you see a through G rate of 5.3 for 2021. These were due to reporting errors in CalPADS. We became aware of them, through our work with the Riverside County Office of Education on our Measuring Student Learning project. And since then, our data has been cleaned up, our reporting has been cleaned up, and we're confident going forward that our numbers will be what they are. One of the things we do see again, however, is that district-wide in our 4 comprehensive high schools are behind, as Mr. Lambert said, San Joaquin County and the state of California. I want to point out that McNair High School, with the exception of the 2018 school year, has had the highest A through G rate in the district. And a lot of that is due to the alternative schedule that we're going to be talking about momentarily. The next slide shares additional data on career technical education for the last 3 years. The number of our students who are completing CTE pathways has decreased slightly, while the number of students, the next set shows AP exams, the number of students who have passed AP exams has increased ever slightly. So ultimately, we could, the next slide shows some of our goals, and we want our grade level courses or higher to empower our students to develop or enhance our entrance talents and skills in core academics, career preparation, and elective fields. We want our teachers to help our students cultivate that future, and we want to be able to support our students as they select their path after high school. So we have today representatives from McNair High School to start out to talk about the alternative schedule in McNair and some of the opportunities it provides. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Shannon Hagan and Ms. Nicole Vertar.
You can also move the microphone over if you need to.
We were also, what is it, 11 or something, 10 split, whatever that is. So if you are not familiar, if you are not.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I apologize. I'm Shannon Hagan. I'm the English department chair at McNair, or a co-chair, and good evening, President Knackstadt, the board, and Superintendent Young. Sorry, this is new for me.
And good evening, President Knackstadt, members of the board, and Superintendent Young. I am Nicole Vertar. I am the principal at McNair High School.
So for those of you who are unfamiliar with our block schedule, we call it the college block because our students take 4 classes in the fall and then take 4 new classes in the spring. So it's designed very much like a college-going schedule. And it has been very effective for our students. They take each class for 90 minutes a day. So at the end of the year, they've taken 8 classes. At the end of high school, they have taken 32 as opposed to 24 that is offered through the other high schools on a traditional schedule. An additional benefit that we find for some of our students is that they can also double up on courses. So we will have students take Spanish 1 and 2 in the same year. So they can double up their enrollment and complete 2 years of coursework within a single year. It provides plenty of opportunities for additional electives and a lot of opportunities for credit recovery as well. So, which helps our A through G rate because many of our students are able to make those credits up during the school day, and they have more opportunities to correct those mistakes that happen a lot during those freshman and sophomore years.
I also would like to point out that the block allows our English learners to take their support classes running parallel with their college prep classes, and so they do not lose out on elective opportunities. And that also impacts our special education students. They can take their study skills classes throughout the year and still have other elective classes that they can take as well. The next slide.
Any other comments? Okay. Board comments then?
Oh, okay. So there's, I hit a couple things on this slide. One of the things also is being able to take multiple classes, like 2 classes in a year. We have some students who graduate with 5 years of science or 5 years of math and still take 3 art classes and still take student government. It provides a lot of opportunity for our high achievers as well. And then we also have a weekly common planning time, which has been really fundamental to our school because we are on an accelerated pace. So if we only met once a month, if we were looking at data, we're 4 weeks later, it's not helpful really to our students. So the weekly common planning time has been very helpful. I know many of our departments are getting very good at analyzing data. The math department is hyper-focused on this. And so it provides a lot of those extra chances for our students.
Any other comments from the committee?
Yeah, we're gonna, I guess now, you wanna look at Lodi High School's
Thank you,
efforts?
thank you, Ms. Berton. Ms. Hagan, sorry.
Yeah, so I was,
On McNair?
yes, Mr. Knackstead, do you wanna do questions regarding McNair now, or would you prefer that the whole report is done and then?
I kind of want the whole report done, I think.
Okay, so how about we do Q&A?
I'm writing it down too.
No worries, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I want to turn it over to Dr. Jesus Moran and Ms. Beth Osterman from Lodi High.
Good evening, Board President, Mr. Knackstead, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Young, and students. First, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here and share with you the initiative that we've been attempting to implement at Lodi High School. Being my first year at Lodi, I was approached by many of my teachers and asking in regards to what my experience has been with both block schedule and 7-period days. So fortunately, I have vast experience working with schools and those different alternative schedules. And so my teacher here to my right, Ms. Osterman, has been leading the block schedule committee throughout the year. And so we've been meeting throughout the year, having vast conversation in regards to what we can do differently at Lodi High School. And so she's here today to share with you our experience and the committee's experience throughout the year.
Thank you, Dr. Malone. Good evening, Board President Knackstead, Superintendent Young, and members of the board. My name is Beth Osterman, and I have spoken here before for textbook adoptions, but this is a little bit nerve-wracking because unlike McNair, who was raised and born with this scheduled opportunities for their students, Lodi High has, as well as the other comprehensive high schools, been kind of welded to a 6-period day. So our initial investigation into alternative scheduling began with our WASC report last spring. I was one of the committee chairpersons of the curriculum section for WASC, and so I saw firsthand the questions that the visiting committee had and some of the shortcomings of our offerings that we have currently. Our goal is to address the goals from our WASC study, as you see in front of you. When we take a look at our 6-period day, it is very rigid. It doesn't allow for the same opportunities as McNair had highlighted for our EL students, our foster youth, as well as our SPED students. And I believe that as we kind of talk our way through our other goals, we'll see that it's good. An alternative schedule would benefit almost all of our students in one way or another. Our initial goal here does match in with the presentation to increase A through G enrollments. Part of our problem with the 6-period day, especially as more graduation requirements are coming up within the California State Ed Code, is there's just not enough room in the day for students to do remediation, to get support classes, or to even take a variety of courses following their passion for something like band and still being A through G. And our goal is to increase those offerings for all of our students. We also considered a schedule change to take a look at repurposing our PLCs. We would also like a weekly common planning PLC to take a look at and analyze data on an ongoing basis to use for student intervention. And that also plays a very strong support role when we take a look at students actually passing rigorous A through G courses. It's not just about offering them, but it's about offering student support on a continual basis during the school day, which right now we do have an SSR period, but it's structured a little bit loosely, and we like to really tighten that up. And then lastly, we built into our block schedule that we investigated and looked at an Ignite period. That's our revamped SSR period to be used for student peer tutorials, to be used for school community building, which I think that our school, every school really strives for, to make sure all students feel included by offering activities during the school day. It's very difficult for some of our students who take bus and transportation in to come in early, to stay after school for some of those activities that will kind of bind them and attract them to be a part of Lodi High. When we began this process last spring, it started with teacher feedback on what they would want to see in a schedule change. They highlighted changing SSR, and we also noted the need for an additional period. So our committee, which began last spring under Mr. Auerbach, continued under Dr. Marone. He's been very supportive in our committee, as well as speaking with board members as well as district admin as we began this process. We also visited several school sites, Oak Ridge High School and Woodland High School, to get feedback and to interview teachers and principals on the benefits and some of the drawbacks of having an alternative schedule, either a 7-period AB block with a 2-day block or a 4-day block. So we've done a lot of investigative work. We carried forth questions from our staff members and brought that back to our staff as well. And in December, we decided that we were just going to kind of go for it and try to pass an MOU. And that was a little bit different than our original plan. Our original plan was to work with Bear Creek, Lodi, and Tokay. All of us are on still a 6-period day. But we wanted to see what the reaction is and the feedback from our staff. When you're working in a committee, sometimes it can be very blinding because we all want the same thing. But to actually get a pulse on what our staff wants and what they want to see, that was important for us to move on. So if you would please move on to the next slide. This is our schedule that we proposed. It's very different than McNair's 4x4. And for some people, it's like, this is periods everywhere and it's so awkward. But really, every single period that we offer has the same amount of minutes per week. It's just divided up a little bit differently. We are offering a 7-period year for the full year. So our students stay with their teachers for the full year. Unlike the 4x4, as I explained, you do it in a semester. I did point out there's some highlights there for our Ignite period, 4 days a week. We believe that student intervention for 30 minutes a day, we had 31 minutes to balance out our time, would be very effective with student tutorials, teacher-led tutorials, opportunities again for that daily intervention. When our students who are maybe placed in more challenging math courses or science courses. Now, whether that be a high school or Math 1 or whether it be a calculus, we really want to offer that time block during the school day for students to access. We also added in there again weekly collaboration on a Wednesday, as well as that 7th period. It is a little bit different. That 7th period on the schedule is very much like Oak Ridge's schedule that has been very successful for them. And in this way, we can offer 7 periods, we can offer intervention, we can offer a weekly collaboration, and hopefully achieve the goals that WASC laid out for us. Unfortunately, when we ran our MOU, we gained, I'm not going to say only because I'm very proud that 66% of our teachers were in support of a schedule change. This is huge. Change is hard for anybody. And so this is my 26th year teaching here at Lodi Unified School District. And I don't know how many years I have left, but I would like to see positive change for our students. And so even though we didn't meet the 80% required, we're going to keep on trying and addressing the concerns that staff had. We did a post-MOU survey. They gave some great feedback on areas that they would like clarified, like Some of them are still not clear on A through G requirements and how an extra additional class period could impact that. So we need to do a better job explaining that to our staff. Some were concerned about professional development. They are worried about that change. As am I, teaching an AP class, it's a big switch over and change from a 55-minute day. And so we're actually providing professional development in this upcoming month and to hopefully kind of ease those fears of teachers that might be concerned about changes, noting that this is all about increasing student opportunity, again, across our entire student body. If you would like to know more, we've created an increasing opportunity website so you can actually see all the work that we've done. We want to be very transparent in what we've done and then continue working with the other schools going into the fall and trying again for another MOU to increase opportunities for our students. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from the committee? Okay.
Mr. Knack said I have questions.
Which? We'll have
Or you want to take the public
we'll have to
first?
take the public first. Yeah. Is there, public has some comments? Yes, no, maybe?
I think you guys know me, Lisa Wilkins, president of LEA. I have mixed feelings about this. I understand the need to give kids more opportunities, but I kind of feel that presenting it here to the board is circumventing bargaining. The MOU did not pass at Lodi High, and the reason for that, there were several reasons for that. One of them, being a secondary teacher, I will tell you, when I started here, when I taught middle school, I had 7 periods, okay? Then we went down to 6 to be copacetic with high schools. Going to 7 periods as a secondary teacher means that you have more students. That means more work, okay? It might mean more planning. You might get another prep because you're teaching a different course. You have more work to correct, okay? I don't see anywhere in here where teachers right now, if they teach during their prep, they get 120% contract. I don't see any of that here. I have very grave concerns, and I'm very disappointed that it was brought here. I understand. But I do believe that this is something that needs to be bargained. And what I am afraid of is that, oh, everyone's saying, this is a great idea, we're going to impose this. This is why I know that many people in Lodi who contacted me and voted against this said that they voted against it because they felt that it was being imposed on them. LEA has an 80% pass rate for MOUs for a reason. And that reason is that we want this to be something that the entire teaching staff at that site agrees to and doesn't feel that they are being pushed into. I feel that presenting this here is again, pushing this agenda that has not been bargained. And I have grave, grave concerns about that.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments?
Good evening, President Naxted and members of the board and Superintendent Young. My name is Sherry Carson. I'm a social science teacher at Bear Creek High School. I'm here tonight to speak about the Bell Schedule Committee work that is being done at Bear Creek. Last school year, we began exploring alternative bell schedules with Dr. Dosti, and this year representatives from Bear Creek have been working collaboratively within our site and actively communicating with Lodi High School to develop a 7-period partial block schedule in order to increase student opportunities. In the Bear Creek model, we combine the best of 2 schedules. Students will see all teachers 4 days a week. 3 of those days would be a standard 7-period school day. In the midweek, students would have a 90-minute block schedule with an early release Wednesday that includes a Bruin Power Hour flex time. Our schedule was approved meeting instructional minute requirements. We wrote a contract MOU and brought our schedule to staff vote. Unfortunately, our schedule fell short of the 80% required vote in order to make a change. I would like to provide you with a copy of the schedule that our committee designed for your consideration. I'm also sharing a copy of the MOU as was voted on by BCHS staff. Our committee looks forward to continuing our work through the rest of this school year, collecting staff feedback. Our next step is to move forward to resume our work to improve our bell schedule in order to provide students with more opportunities at Bear Creek. And I just would like to say, go Bruins.
Any other comments? Any student comments? Wait, hang on. Any student? Yes, no? Okay. Okay, board comments. Now, Mr. Nava.
Yes, it's Beth, when you got all this together here, are all the teachers are in favor of this block schedule?
Well, our actual vote that we had staff-wide had 66% yes. That's 2/3 majority of our staff wanted to move forward with that exact schedule that is shown on your screen.
That's not enough percentage, is it?
It is not, because our union has an 80%, but we did a post survey and we asked our staff, for those of you who voted no, what were the reasons you have? Are there clarifications? Is there anything that we can change in the schedule that will still meet our WASP goals? We aimed very high. We did not compromise on this proposal. And so getting 66%, although it didn't pass, it kind of gave us a little temperature gauge of how our staff felt. One thing loud and clear that came out is they are concerned about losing instructional time. They are concerned, and that's going to happen regardless. It happens on a 4x4, it happens on an 8-period day, it happens on a 7-period day. Because we were kept to our 8:30 start time, 8:30 start time and 3:20 end time. We had to keep in those parameters. We also have to have 2 lunches. Looking at schedules in other regions and areas, they do not have those same restrictions. And so the 66% that voted yes also gave us feedback, and I think overall they just want more professional development. They want to know they'll be supported by the district. They want to know that their class sizes will not be too large. They want to know that it will not be, it will be something that is beneficial to all of our students, not just one subset. So I feel it's part of our responsibility as a committee to answer those questions for our staff and to keep on trying.
What's the feeling of the other 40% or whatever, 30 and whatever percent you have?
Well, in reality, I'm not a math teacher, but we really need to flip about 13 to 15 teachers over. I think it would be delusional to believe we can get 100% in support of anything, unless you're giving extra vacation time.
They're always
So, yes. So we're going to do the best we can to provide what the teachers gave us feedback that doubted this change. It's a lot of change at one time. We totally see that. But at the same time, if you make minor changes and tweaks along the way, how many times are staff actually going to want to change? It is hard. We're asking teachers to change their curriculum. We're asking them to get used to a new way of teaching. But I think that the results, if you look purely at the numbers for A through G and McNair, do reflect that we need to offer more to our students. And our staff was very vocal that they were not in favor of doing a 4x4, and so we offered this schedule. We really are trying to address what our teachers believe is best for their classrooms and their subject areas and their programs at Lodi High.
One other question. I am familiar with the block schedule. Excellent, of course. I'm prejudiced. But my concern is that when we voted to get the block schedule, it was the principal getting up at a faculty meeting at the end of the school year, and then it says, how many of you want block schedule? They wanted just to get out of there, okay? Next fall, it was a block schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is a little bit different because we're Democratic and we're trying to get all these people. I would like to see at least 85% approval of this schedule that you have here. Other than that, my gosh, you'll have so many disappointed teachers and disgruntled, and it doesn't work. It won't work.
Any comments? You want? Mr. Porter, you had it.
Yeah, I wanted to start with McNair.
Mr. Porter, would you pull the microphone closer, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to start with McNair. The comment was made that we have one of the highest, I believe, A through G in the district, and that's true. That's correct. On McNair, I went to your dashboard and I saw that math, you're very low, EL very low, and your suspensions are very high. Your A through G is good, but the students also get to take the same class twice, so obviously they're doing well. How are you doing in your AP scores as a school? Not at Lodi High, at McNair. What is your average on your AP scores as far as the pass rate? And how many students are taking the AP test?
Unfortunately, I don't have the exact numbers with me.
Okay.
We do offer between 18 and 20 AP courses.
Yes.
We have a fair amount of students from each of those classes who do take the AP tests. We have a couple hundred every year that we're offering. We don't have the same number of AP courses that some of the other high schools have. We don't have the ag program, you can't, those types of things. But the classes that we do have, students are interested in them.
Okay, and how are your CTE? How is that coming along?
We have 3 CTE programs. We are rebuilding some of them. A few years ago, with one of the changes to the way the culinary program was run and the requirements that students make or need in order to enter into the culinary program, that was changed by Lincoln Tech, and so those numbers kind of dipped a little bit, but we're rebuilding that. Excuse me. We have a computer science CTE pathway, and then we also have possible occupations, which has 3 very full classes of students.
Right. Now, this is just me hearing rumors and so forth. Is it true that McNair is one of the most expensive schools to run out of our comprehensive high schools because of the 4x4?
I do not know that.
This Mr.
Yeah, we'd have to get Mr. Khan to run those numbers for
I
you.
believe some of the teachers are getting 133.
So I don't know what it is at McNair as far as working on their prep, but
So okay, yes, except the 133 is not a 133, it is 133 for half a year because it is under very unusual circumstances that a teacher is offered four classes the whole year. So in the year's salary, it averages out to a 117.
And that would be for one semester, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so interesting. The 4x4 is interesting. The Lodi High School, I've been, since I started on the board, I've wanted to increase the number of choices for students in terms of periods. And going back to McNair and looking at Lodi, this is a general question. Which one of your proposals has the best data-driven success at other schools? Meaning, how are they doing on A through G? How are they doing on the AP test? How are they doing on CTE? How are they doing on graduation rates? How are they doing on all those things? So out of those, what we're looking at here tonight, and I know there's other types of schedules out there, what types of data support if we were to move either to a 4x4 or move either to a Lodi High type program? So I'm asking one question for both schools.
I can say that our research that we did in our committees, we chose Oak Ridge High School to visit because they have very high AP exam pass rates. They have very high completion of CTE, A through G, etc. But what we've learned through this committee building and research is that it is very hard to compare schools because of the school population is different, the funding is different in the district, etc. On the Increasing Opportunity website, there is actually a slideshow that does compare the research we had from the CCI, the California dashboard on CCI indicators. So it does have, for both Woodland High School that we visited, Oak Ridge, Lodi High, comparing everything from A through G rates to AP exams to expulsions and suspensions. So I included that as part of our research as to why we would attempt a 7-period AB block like Oak Ridge. Because this is very similar to their schedule, including the Ignite or the intervention class period. As far as Lodi High statistics and data, one of the reasons we want to keep, or I guess we want to stay with our students all year long is we do within the district, I believe, have the highest number of students doing AP. We have the highest, therefore it's going to equate to the highest number of students passing the AP exam. We also have the highest percentage of biliteracy awards, and we would like to keep those items going. We like to keep that success going. And so a 7-period AB block for us, the data worked for us to not make a major change. If things are going well with seeing kids year long, that's what our teachers wanted. That's what is more like our schedule right now. And that's why we would choose, we were gravitated towards an AB block. Woodland School, there's statistics on there as well. And we are also going to try to go visit Laguna Creek, whose student population is a little bit more reflective of our student population than, say, a school like Oak Ridge. So we did take those factors into account. It's just, when we read like the WASC reports for those schools, they have a lot of different programs that maybe we don't have yet.
Because they have extra periods.
Because extra periods, but also it's just school by school, funding is different. Funding is, it was difficult to compare and say, this is the model we want because of these success rates. But we tried to take a look at a number of schools to model ourselves after and research and do school visits.
And McNair, how many schools are doing the 4x4 and their success rate?
So, we didn't visit schools because we're doing the 4x4.
Well, your school started it with 4x4.
We started, we've opened day one as a 4x4.
Right.
So, I did do some early investigation into some of this, and I don't have the data with me. I was looking for reports because I know AP pass rates are a big element that a lot of people will bring up. And there were some studies done, not locally, but in other parts of the country, where it showed, one study showed that the AB block at like a year-long school scored marginally better, like we're talking within 1% better than the college block, and then another one showed the opposite. So that seems to be kind of negligible. I know we don't have as many students who take APs, and a lot of our students have really strong fears of failing tests. So if they think they won't pass it, a lot of them just choose not to take it. It's a battle a lot of our AP teachers go through with them. But there are also studies that prove, specifically because we talk about populations of our students, that the college block is more beneficial for our population.
For your population.
Because they only have 4 classes to deal with at one time. They only have 4 teacher personalities to deal with at one time. They have less work to keep track of. And then as teachers, we teach 3 periods a day. So 6 classes throughout the year, but 3 periods a day. So even though we have them for only half the year, we have them for 90 minutes, we get to know our students. We have 60% of the students that the other teachers have.
Yeah, but they would change teachers at the semester, so they still would have obviously the same number of teachers they would see as another school.
Yeah, you just have that, a little bit more of that one-on-one. And for our students, like, we do have a high EL population.
Right, and
but we
your
also
scores
have,
on that weren't good.
I haven't seen, our school was definitely impacted. Our EL students, our numbers went up after COVID. It really did. The number of sections we needed to offer increased. We had 2 support sections for each grade level. And coming back from COVID, we went to 2 support sections for 11 and 12, and we have 3 for 9 and 10. And then our intervention class, like reading intervention, and our newcomer classes are very large right now. We had to add another section of that as well. And so I haven't seen the most recent data, but I work closely with Heather, who's my co-chair, and we have the highest reclassification rates in the district as well. Okay. So while we may have these high numbers and the scores are all, we get a lot of newcomers, and we carry a lot of the migrant ed population at our site as well. But we do fare very well with our schedule for reclassification because they stay with us. Those are year-long classes. They are supported. They have 90 minutes a day for the entire year for English and English language support.
Going back to Lodi, thank you very much. Going back to Lodi High, on your night period that you have there, and again, I want to compliment all of you for your work that you're doing. When I say that they're low, the scores, that's not reflective of you. That's something that me, has to work on to help all of us, for our students. So please don't take it personally. It's nothing but way of saying it. On Lodi High, the Ignite part, when I started at Tokay, we had a homeroom. And that homeroom, I got a bunch of kids. And we did the bulletin and all that, and we had no accountability. So tardies and whether they showed up or not. And I was a first year teacher, I was 21 years old. It was a nightmare, and I had all seniors, and they ate me alive. Anyway, that's a long story. On your Ignite period, where's your accountability?
We actually are piloting, as all the other schools, the management system of Minga. The school sites that we visited, like Oak Ridge, they use a different system, but it is an accountability system to make sure that students are not just free roaming around the school. We also are moving Ignite, regardless of whether they have an MOU or not, to after second period.
Right.
Because having it first thing in the morning does maybe entice a student to take a detour to Starbucks on the way to school and then miss SSR. So we are actually hoping to, regardless of whether we do a 7-period AB block, to really tighten up our SSR and not call it SSR anymore, because it's not. We want to make it an intervention period, and we want to make it an opportunity for students to really get help and to be doing something academic. And so while we don't have, and there have been requests, can you attach a grade to it? Can you make it worth some kind of credits?
Right.
So we are not quite there yet, because that would be a board policy change as well. Right. We just wanted to get it in the books to make it more structured. And so the flex period, which we are calling Ignite, we have seen modeled at other schools and done very, very well. But it takes a management system so that a teacher is taking a role. You are ensuring that students have electronic passes or a physical pass to go to a tutorial or a session, that they're not just saying they're going one place and not actually doing it.
Right.
So we see value in that intervention. It was one of the highlights on our WASC report that we have an SSR tutorial program for our freshmen, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to keep it in the program.
Okay, yeah, SSR started off as a great idea, get kids to read, and then it morphed into what's on our phones, or showing up late, as you said, with Starbucks or House of Coffee. I think what's being offered out here today is awesome. I think we're giving kids choice, and I love it. I think this is great. I love Bear Creek's what they put together as well. I wish they could present tonight. I think 66% is good. In fact, it's beyond good. It's great, because getting teachers to agree on whether the sun is up, you might get 7 out of 10, and it could be glaring, hitting them right in the face. I've taught teachers. I did the oligarchy, I think it's called, classes where you teach adults, and they're difficult, but they're fun. My point in this is, I think what you're doing deserves a lot of credit, because it's teacher-driven, and it's awesome. And Bear Creek started with it, and have done well with it, with their 4x4. And Lodi High is looking for change. I think it's great, and Bear Creek as well. And given what they did on their A through G, we need to do something there, because they dropped down, I think, a -11. And if you take a look at the state, which is at 45, I believe, or 54. The state for 40 is at 52.4. We're not doing well. And I believe change is needed, and I'm supporting whatever the teachers decide to do. I think 80% is too high of a threshold. I think 70% would be great. That's me talking as a 38-year veteran teacher. I think 80% is way too high. So I give both of you kudos. And Ms. Osterman, I talked to you at Trivia Night. I think all that work that you did, which goes unnoticed but not unnoticed by me, has been tremendous for our community and for the kids and for the teachers that I've talked to. Just a great job. Outstanding. And thank you so much.
Okay, any board comments?
Yeah, I can tell you, you have a 66%. If you did it with that, the other 34% of the teachers will kind of see how it feels, and I'll get you a percentage, maybe 30% of those will buy into it. That's the way it happens all the time in education. That's my experience for 40 years, okay? So I'm telling you that 66% is good. If you get another 15 teachers to agree, great. It's a great thing that you have this schedule. I agree with Mr. Porter on the things that we can improve as far as the A through G and all those kinds of things that you're objectives are. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Farley?
Thank you. First, thank you for all the information. I do have one quick, very quick, when you ran your memo, what percentage did you have come up with? If I read it, I didn't.
Hi, I ran at 55%, and we worked actively on the committee for 3 months this school year. So when Lodi told us that they were voting this school year, then we began actively working to propose an MOU.
Okay, great, thank you. I think this is amazing. I think if anything we've learned in the last couple of years is that the classroom's starting to look different, and not being a teacher, I think it's amazing that you're kind of rethinking the way a class looks and how they're allotted throughout the day. So while I think there's some more work to do, I love the start that you have, and I like the trajectory that it's headed. And I think with those kinds of numbers on your first pass, I think you're onto something. I think there's some components of it that need to be worked out, and there's contractual things and all those things. But I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing. I can't wait to see what it looks like in a month or two from now, or even soon. And Mr. Young, I'm sure you'll keep us abreast of this. Thank you.
Dr. Ball, you have a question?
Mr. Connected?
Hang on, Dr. Ball.
No, it's okay, go ahead.
I just was going to ask, Lucas had mentioned in his comments that he was kind of looking, even though it won't affect him, that he was looking forward to a block schedule, and I just was curious from your perspective how this might have changed, or your thoughts on that. I'm putting you on the spot, I'm sorry.
No worries. So I actually had a lot of conversations with students when we became aware that this vote was being brought to the table for our staff. I was one of the students who thought that it would benefit a lot of our students who need credit recovery, a lot of our students who are failing to meet A through G. I talked to a lot of AP students who were expressing concerns about now having to take on extra classes, because a lot of AP students go through this tendency where they just stack and stack and stack and stack more AP classes. And I think what the staff would need to encourage those students to do is to utilize their Ignite period, utilize the extra period to do something that they enjoy, rather than adding a 7th AP class or a 6th AP class. But other than that, I am a little bit sad that it didn't pass, because I was hoping that it would be put through, but yeah, those are my comments.
Awesome, thank you,
Dr.
Lucas.
Ball?
Yeah, just a quick, it's a question for McNair. Most of my questions got answered by everybody else asking him, which is good. Does the 32 unit, the one that you provide at McNair, does it capture the student attention? Like our kids nowadays have a 15-second attention span. Do they tend to be more focused when you have it within a 6-month period, finishing up the coursework?
I think less in terms of the length of time. Our 90-minute periods can feel a little bit long, but our teachers have adapted. We all shift from activity to activity, so we kind of break things up in chunks that way, and we keep the class engaging that way. I do think in some ways for some of our students, I teach intervention, and so I have my students all year long, and there are sometimes when they are just desperate to test out. I use that as a motivator. But a lot of them will talk about if they have teachers that maybe they just don't connect well with, or they don't get along with for whatever reason, they definitely are happy to be done with them, and halfway through the year, or just have them for half the year. I've heard lots of them, or classes they don't like. They're just like, well, at least it's only this long. So for some of the students, that's kind of nice, and they know that coming into another class that maybe piques their interest, it's coming down the road. We also try to balance their academic classes with their electives, so they're not taking English, math, science, and social science all at the same time. So there's a little bit of reprieve there, and it does, I think, help some of them keep interest. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of data that really supports the fact that McNair should not have the highest A through G rate. Some of the data that Mr. Porter pointed out, and it's very true, it seems to defy the numbers, and so it definitely has to do with the block. And some of our kids, I think, end up A through G just by accident, and I'm okay with that. I do also want to point out, though, one thing. We did have a student also, in terms of credit recovery, we took a student, approved a student to come from Tokay as a senior who was not going to be able to graduate because she was, for whatever reason, she couldn't remediate there. In December, we approved it, and she started in January and will be graduating this year because of how our system's set up. So it definitely benefits some of our higher achieving students by giving them more options and making them nice, very, what's the word, competitive in terms of applying to college, but also those ones who are like kind of by the skin of their teeth, but it gives them those extra opportunities.
Gets it done though.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hearing from you, that it looks like having that smaller time period is helping them just focus, finish, and move on. So that's a nice way of looking at it. And then, does it help improve attendance in any way? Does it capture them to come in so they can be there, finish up? Does it help the numbers in that sense?
We are struggling with some attendance issues right now, but it tends to be it's not a universal thing. It's a specific block of students that, we're trying to figure out how to get them more engaged. They're a lot of the ones who end up needing to remediate, and that has to do with some of their school culture and just kind of filling in some gaps that we are working on. I don't know how much of it is what's happening in the classroom so much as they're just very much avoiding work and not seemingly concerned about passing. So we're working on trying to figure that out. But I don't know that the block solves that, but it definitely gives them the opportunity to fix it once they finally figure it out.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you for the report.
Gary, I have one more question.
I was some too.
Sorry, Gary. Oh, President's gotta go last. Beth, on some of so you had 66%, so 34% said no. Some of the feedback you got, was some of the feedback for voting no that the district might hijack some of the free time? Not the free time, I shouldn't have said that.
I think.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, but I think I would more like I'll step back, take that one step back from that. That I believe that some of the feedback, because in addition to just doing what are your concerns, teachers were able to type out comments, and I think some teachers felt that this was being forced on them, and they were pushing back. Some of the no's believe. I don't think it's some kind of conspiracy going on. I'm not sure, but we did begin this on our own as a result of our WASC. But I think that some of this goes to they want autonomy within their classroom, and they are concerned about changes just overall. And it doesn't have anything to do with the district office or Big Brother. It's just their own concerns of how they will deal with the changes. I think also some of the no votes, from their comments, and actually on the Increasing Opportunity website, the entire data is there for you to see, and all the comments from those who voted yes and no. So it is there, so we know that it's not me making up information about the no's. They were also concerned about funding, I think. It was brought up, as Lisa stated, when we do these MOUs, and they have to pass every year by 80%, but it's that contractual language that they want reassurance on, that their classrooms are not going to grow, because right now we have pretty comfortable classroom sizes. Right. There was a concern that when you're adding on a 7th period, but there's no additional funding, will their classes go up to 35, 36? And that's a very real concern for them. And those are concerns that I can't guarantee any answers for as a teacher leading a committee. So, between that and having other classes maybe eliminated because they don't have enough students, these are all things that are school specific. So I think that revealed there are some concerns of those who voted no that our committee cannot fix. It is what it is. Same with the loss of instructional minutes, and that was big as well. I think that's probably the biggest concern, and some of those teachers are actually wanting to go on school site visits. They want to know more about block. They are having more of an open mind, especially when you have 2/3 of our teachers agreeing that we should change. It's really hard to be part of that smaller percentage and not see what the other plus half is thinking. So I'm very appreciative of those who might have voted no initially, that they're keeping an open mind. And again, that's why we're working so hard to address their concerns.
Okay, Great job. I'm sorry, Mr. Kelly.
Okay. All right, well,
Can I make one comment on
we've already
this?
had public comment. Okay, maybe when you come back at your thing at the end, do it, okay?
What thing, yeah.
Isn't there, it's not,
No, that was
okay.
at the beginning.
Should put an email then. Okay, we don't run out of time.
Yeah, that won't ever be read.
Okay, I just wanted to say thank you very much. I've always been in favor of providing opportunities to students, and I think that this is a good way of doing it. I think a block schedule of some sort allows more opportunities, allows students to take classes that, I hate to say it this way, but they really want to take, like a shop class. And believe it or not, once upon a time, Beth, when you were at Lodi High School and I was teaching there, I did exactly what you're doing. I tried to convince Lodi High School to go to a block schedule because I was teaching business classes, and it also failed then also. One thing I like about what you guys have done is that it's all teacher-driven. This did not come from the district in any way. This is something that you guys have come up with. So the one thing that I would like for you to do, though, is if this is going to come back to some kind of a vote or decision, I'd like to have one schedule. You've given us, all these could be good in its own way, but we need to have one schedule, not, you know, Mr. Nava saying I like A and Dr. Ball, she likes B a lot better. So that's something I think that your committee and this group needs to work on, is one solution.
Mr. Knackstead, as far as this process goes, these are 3 comprehensive high schools who are looking at something new.
Yes.
And the process of teacher-driven, you know, looking into schedules that will provide opportunities, as well as what McNair offers with a different schedule now. Mm-hmm. And so at this point, we're not doing this report to bring it back to you as an action item.
Okay.
It's really to keep you informed that your teachers at the comprehensive high schools, because of loss, because of their own desire to see more students prepared for what's beyond high school, as well as catch up. We know with a 6-period day and only having one class that you can fail, that means your summer will be in summer school, and for many that's not a possibility because of taking care of siblings, work responsibilities, and this opens the door for other opportunities. So this is just to keep you informed in light of, you know, the reality that on our dashboard, compared to others, we need to have improvement. And what you're seeing here is an effort from teachers. I don't know if there's anything else you would add to that, but this is really just to keep you in the know of what is happening at your 4 comprehensive high schools, to understand the block as well as the discussions that are happening currently in Bear Creek now. And this is encouraging as well as the work that happened at Lodi High.
I encourage you to continue your work because I think it's valuable, and I think it is a good, you know, a good thing for Lodi High School students, or Lodi Unified students. Any other comments?
Can I just say one?
Okay. Oh, you know.
I was just gonna say that, you know, with the fact that the McNair students do have the opportunity to take 8 classes a year, if the other 3 high schools were to move to some sort of block or hybrid like this to increase the opportunities for their students, I would just hope that we would still be able to keep ours where they are and not decrease and take away from our students.
Okay. Thank you all. We'll go on to our teacher residency program with Dr. Solly.
Thank you, President Knackstead, members of the board. Mr. Young, I'm going to ask Jennifer Tillett, our program coordinator for our new teacher support programs, to come forward. And she has joining her 2 of our new teachers, Alyssa Erickson from Oakwood, Joey Sousa from Davis. A couple years ago, we entered into, actually last year, 22-23, we entered into an agreement with Teachers College of San Joaquin to work in this residency program, bring another pathway for teachers to come into their credential and also to our district. And Jennifer will give you a little history on that, where we are today and where we hope to get to. We just have had success, and we want to let you know what we're doing to help increase our ranks of our our newest and our strongest, best teachers. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Knaxted, members of the board, and Superintendent Young. Thank you for having us here this evening. I'm Jennifer Tillett. I'm your coordinator of professional development. We in our department do all things from supporting brand new teachers through different avenues and supporting ongoing supportive teachers and their training development. So this came across my desk, and it was really exciting to see that we have some alternative pathways to training teachers and developing teachers in a way. So we're just going to go over what is the residency pathway today. We're going to look at kind of what's going on within the district already and where we want to go from there. So we could have the next slide, please. First, this came as a partnership, and it really is a true partnership with residency at Teachers College of San Joaquin, so they call it residency at TCSJ. And I am in close contact and working monthly, if not weekly, with the people at TCSJ, and so we're really working together to build teachers within our community. And when we started talking about it, we really got excited about the idea of growing our own teachers and really training them within our community and keeping them here with us. So the next slide, please. So what is teacher residency? First, let's look at what are the traditional pathways that we all became teachers, or quite a few of us in this room anyways. And it really is that center column there for most of us, and that was the traditional student teaching route, where we would finish a course of study for a bachelor's degree and then do a 5th year of study, which oftentimes takes place within one school year, but it's one half is usually classes, the second half is anywhere from 6 weeks to 12 weeks to 20 weeks of student teaching with a master teacher or a model teacher. And sometimes, depending on the credential, that could even be at multiple sites because you need multiple grade levels, or if your subject area, those kind of things. So that's the traditional pathway to become a teacher in the state of California. What we're seeing a lot of is the intern pathway, where we are hiring teachers who they have some pre-service classwork, but they don't have any experience within the classroom, and so they're paid as the teacher of record and teaching while going to school at the same time. So they're going to classes. TCSJ is also our partner for this program as well. And they're going to classes in the evening, but they are taking on all of the duties of a credentialed teacher while making a full salary. So we have about 50 of those in the district right now. And so now going to the left-hand column of that slide, the teacher residency is different in the way that it is, and the intern program is 2 years versus the 1 year. The residency program is where the teacher is placed, or the candidate is placed in one teacher's classroom, or in some cases we're looking at teams of teachers, so they get a little more access, but one teacher's classroom, and they're there from pre-service days, so all the professional development days, all the way through the end of the school year. And what we're seeing is the benefit of this is they get to see all the pieces. So for example, when I student taught, I came in January, which is what's happening in most of the pre-prep programs. Came in January, well, all of the expectations and everything are already set. And so a brand new teacher or potential teacher doesn't see what it takes for those first weeks of really building the community in your classroom and those things. It is a 1 year program. And they do go to school at night, and there are some different options for, they're bringing in a virtual option versus and an in-person cohort. The residency program is really focused on community, so building that partnership from within the cohort, and then also within the school district, within the school system. And so it's really bringing all of the pieces together. The next slide, please.
For the special ed pathway, this program is really important because teachers can earn a dual credential, so they can get their general ed credential as well as their special ed credential. We think that it's a very, a lot of the data is showing a positive way in that we're setting the expectations for special ed teachers, and they're not just out there on their own trying to figure out IEPs and how to give quality instruction, so they actually get to participate and see it, which is really beneficial. And I think I covered everything else on there. We do have some grant money that's available through the state. TCSJ has grant money, as well as we were awarded 4 grants to give out in high need areas. And that money, depending on which grant they get, is paying for their tuition. It's paying for their mentor that mentors them throughout the year, as well as a small living stipend. So it's a really cool pathway in that aspect, that they're not just spending their own money to do all of this and working for free like most of us did when we were student teaching. Next slide, please. So what's happening now is that last year we had two residents. Both were at Oakwood Elementary School, and they're actually both with us because they are year 1 teachers in the district, and they're gonna, yes, they're gonna share a little bit of their experience with us in just a moment. This year we grew to six resident teachers, 2 at the elementary, 2 in middle school math, 1 in social studies, middle school, and then 1 in high school. Spanish is the placement for the high school world language. And our goal for this year is going to be 15 residents, which is a big number, but already the applications at TCSJ have quadrupled what the amount that they had last year, and their cutoff date, their due date is April 15th. So we're hoping to have a larger cohort. Next slide, please. So the coolest part, I think, right now, anyways, we have a 100% hire rate. So, so we have 2 brand new teachers that are in the classrooms, and of this year's cohort, we have already hired 2 with a third one coming. They just haven't gone through the whole process of math teacher. So, so far we're getting some good results. But I think it just speaks volumes when we hear the experiences, especially since our new teachers are in the classroom year 1. So I would like to introduce, well, you can introduce.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Erickson. I'm a first-year, 3rd grade teacher at Oakwood Elementary. Having the best time ever. Some things I want to touch on are just the process. So I actually have been in Lodi Unified for 13 years because I was a student here, came back after I graduated to do the Teachers College program, which was amazing. One thing I really liked about the Teachers College program was, I'm not sure if it's exactly this way now, but I had to interview in front of Lodi Unified staff members to be a part of the Lodi residency program. I think that was a really great opportunity right out of the gate to have some interviewing experience, as well as just getting my face in front of some people who are still around, so which is really awesome. Something I cannot stress enough is the 4-year teaching experience. Jen kind of talked about it already, but having that start to finish where I started, I had a 1st grade class at Oakwood last year, and I was there from the first day to the last day, helped out with everything between back to school night, open house, after school meetings. I was attending a lot of the staff meetings. I ended up working there again this year because of it, and just that start to finish is so beneficial for preparing teachers for what they're going to be expecting when they set foot the first day. Something else I wanted to touch on was the fact that with the residency program, there's also some leeway to substitute teach. So not only was I doing my residency program for Lodi, I also was substitute teaching in Lodi. So the days that I had finished all of my coursework or my required days for being in the classroom, I was at other schools. I ended up substituting at Beckman, Julia Morgan, and some other schools. And I got to experience not only just first grade, but also then fourth grade, fifth grade, second grade, and then third grade, which is what I ended up going with. So not only was I able to do that through the residency program, but the substitute teaching had some supplemental income, which was really beneficial for me coming out of college. Having an experienced teacher walking with you through every single step of your credential program is so beneficial. My mentor teacher and I became best friends. We still have lunch when we have breaks, and we have dinner together. And she's still at my school, and I can't speak any highly of her than I already am, because I was not only able to ask her as many questions as I needed to feel comfortable, but also we were bouncing ideas off of each other. When there were challenges that even she didn't really know how to face, we were able to do it together. And that was so great for me because it taught me how to be flexible in the classroom. And this year I've been taking a lot of what I learned with her and using it this year, which has been so helpful. Also, I got to know the staff really well. My admin from day one of my residency program introduced me to everyone I needed to know on campus, and that comfort that you got from your residency year then translated for me into being at the place where I'm at now. Didn't have to relearn the school culture, didn't have to figure out where the teachers' bathrooms are that first day because I already had it. I already knew where it was. And so I got to know the curriculum, I got to know the staff, I got to know even the students. Actually, my group of third graders, I got to know really well because we have first and second grade recess. So last year, I would see them all the time at lunch, at recess. So I knew every student's name when they started this year, which is really, really awesome. And also, I think something that's really cool is Teachers College does hire some of your Lodi teachers, and Suela Garcia is a great example. I got to learn alongside her, and hearing from her perspective of how great it is to be a teacher at Lodi definitely was awesome. She and her knowledge of being a teacher for so long was so helpful, and that's already Lodi staff, which is really amazing. So when I had questions or anything like that, I could still text her for that help. I can keep going on and on about Teachers College, but I was an ambassador there as well, which was really helpful. So I did a lot of their social media, and I feel that a lot of the skills that I learned, not only just from their coursework, but just that experience being with a credentialed teacher for a full year was so helpful. And I don't think I would be this successful in my first year as I am right now. So go residency.
Hi, my name is Joey Souza. I am a first-year teacher, and I do first grade at Davis Elementary. I don't know how much I have left to say after all of what Alyssa said, but I am I was in the residency program, but I did the dual credential. So I did first grade at Oakwood, but also did the mild mod, the mild mod class over at Oakwood as well. So I got to go to the IEPs and learn how to do those. I got to not run them, but be there to know how to run them. Same as what Alyssa said, the open house, the back to school nights. It was great to go through all that from the very beginning to the very end. I grew very attached to all the students, so it was very hard for me to leave Oakwood and move on to Davis. But Davis was a home school for me because I did the after school program there for 5 years. So I knew a lot of the staff and the students already at that school, so that made me feel much more comfortable moving over to Davis, which is a big jump being a first grade teacher. So that was my big move for myself. But it was nice to have my mentor teachers still reach out to me and ask me, hey, do you need any any supplies? So for open house, I was so nervous, to talk to those parents and tell them I'm a first year teacher. So she gave me a list of things for parents to fill out, and some of the veteran teachers over at Davis were like, wow, you're so prepared, that's such a great job. And so I was like, oh, thanks. That made me feel so much better. But it's nice to have that support even though I'm not at Oakwood still. I still have support from other teachers backing me up at my school now. And it's also one of the things that I really enjoyed about being in the residency program is the night school. We did it on Mondays and Thursdays, but we grew together because some of us would go through oh, we're having a challenge with this one student, and so we would talk about it as a whole cohort with each other, and then we could bounce ideas with each other. And so that was also nice for us to be able to do, because yes, we have our mentor teachers, but they've been teaching for so long. So when we had to start student teaching, it was nice to be able to ask your fellow colleagues and be like, hey, what did you guys do? Like, how would you work this out? Or how would you even talk to your mentor teachers about it? Because sometimes you might be a little nervous to ask these questions. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed the residency program. I don't know how much more I could say about it, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna steal one more thing. Yeah. To touch on the community aspect of it, from day one they were building community. Joey's actually one of my best friends. We met through the program, and we have a third best friend. Her name is Maddie. She teaches elsewhere, but I'm in her wedding, and we met through the teachers program, teachers college program. So that community aspect really flows, not just through teachers college, but also getting exposed to staff throughout all of Lodi Unified. Joey talked about how she went from Oakwood to Davis, seamless transition because of that community building she had already had, being exposed and really immersed into Lodi Unified before even becoming a teacher.
Okay, thank you, lady. Jenny.
Well, I just wanted to add too, with our partnership, as they talk about the cohort model, as the partnership, if we were to grow this in a way, we could actually, TCSJ would support us having actually a Lodi cohort if we got to that point. I like to always have pie in the sky dreams, and so that would be my ideal, like we actually teach them, grow them, and keep them in Lodi.
Sounds like this is a great program. One thing we need to do is how do we get the word out? Another thing it does, it sounds to me like, is it keeps our best and brightest, our local teachers local. I've always been an advocate of we need a four-year college in Stockton, Lodi, somewhere, because people go to college and then they work where that college, they go to Sacramento, they'll stay at Sacramento. We got these good qualified people here locally, and here they are. So this is a great program for those guys, for the teachers, potential teachers, and for our district. So I'm all in. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to comment that it takes great dedication and love of kids for you to do that, because that's what you're saying. That was my vibe from you people. And I'm sure that there are other people that are interested in teaching, and it's such a rewarding job, okay? Thank you.
Any other comments?
Just real quickly, I just love your enthusiasm. Thank you for bringing that to our students. It's welcome. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, what are we at here? I guess I didn't have to public comment. Okay. All right. Let's move on then to the formation of the Extension Road Complex Naming Committee. Mr. Lambert, what's this all about? Oh, sounds like plans.
Good evening. Good evening again, President Knackstead, Superintendent Young, members of the board. It's my pleasure to bring back to you the principal, Mr. Eric Sandstrom, teacher, Mr. Robert Woodford, who are going to discuss with you rebranding and renaming the Extension Road Complex, also Henderson Village. We brought it to you before as a reorg, and thank you for approving the reorganization. And now, much like we did the branding of each individual school there, we got direction from the board that you would like to make sure that each school remains distinct and that each school remains supported, and we're going to do that. But we would like to create an umbrella so that all the students on the campus feel like they're part of the larger school environment. And I think that the staff has done an excellent job of working together in making the school environment a welcoming place. And so we would just like to get some guidance in accordance with your board policy 7310 that we're going to get stakeholder input into rebranding the entire school facility. And along with that, the staff has done an outstanding job with our first WASP visit, which was for the Independence campus. And I can say that Mr. Sandstrom and the team there did an outstanding job, and the feedback was excellent. We have not received the final report, but the feedback from the visiting committee was outstanding in the work that the staff has done there. Now coming up in April, we'll have the next part. A totally separate WASP visiting committee will come and visit the campus to review the Valley Robotics side of the campus. And so that will be coming up in April. So the campus has been working extremely hard to meet the needs of all of the students, and having 2 WASP visits on the same campus is an amazing feat, and they've done an excellent job. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Sandstrom.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert, Mr. Knackstead, members of the board, Superintendent Young. As Mr. Lambert mentioned, and as the board's aware, we've been working on consolidating the different parts of various programs at our school sites, our location out there between Independence School and the Valley Robotics Academy. With your support, we have, and Mr. Lambert and everyone else throughout our district, we've really worked hard to combine the 2 schools. The offices have now been combined. We've also had some significant renovations done on the campus. Besides the main office and the cafeteria and the multi-purpose room, renovations that were done last semester. We've now completed renovations of the library media room and getting all that set up and in process right now. I encourage you to come out and see it because it's really nice. So please do come and visit. We've also just had delivered new classroom furniture for 10 more of our classrooms. Again, so that's very nice. We actually have chairs and desks and tables and things that all match, which is a huge improvement just aesthetically for one thing, if nothing else. We've also have some renovations still coming up this summer, working with M&O and folks throughout the district to come in and do new flooring and those kinds of things in our classrooms. As that said, the staff of VRA and Independence, we've been working together in our joint space there out there on our complex. But we looked to identify what the complex and where the programs are housed, what the complex itself might be called. In the many years prior, and I've been here for enough years as well throughout the district, but it's been referred to as a lot of names, usually by the programs that have been housed out there. It's Katnick, it's Henderson, it's CWA, it's Independence, it's Valley Robotics. It's the complex itself, North Extension Road, our address out there, that needs an identity. Yes, our independent study program, our Valley Robotics program, those are individual programs. We're housed in the same complex. What is our complex? What is it called? We need an identity, and we'd like to pursue that. And we're working with our staff and community members, folks like Mr. Woodfork, who's our teacher from Valley, one of our teachers from Valley Robotics. Some of the things that we'd like to get input from our community, from the board, from anyone who'd like to share with us. We want to help find that identity for a naming of our complex. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Woodward.
Okay,
He's going to stand.
Good evening, everyone. I've been sitting for 2 hours, so I need to stay. That's okay. Nice to meet you, board members. I've never been in one of these before, so it's nice to be here. Nice to see you again, Mr. Young, Mr. Lambert, of course. Last time I saw you, I called you Mr. Lambert by accident. I'm sorry about that. Then I had to ask him, what's your name again? This is bad. So it's good to be here. Before I read a statement on behalf of my colleagues, I just wanted to speak on behalf of VRA if I could. This is my 9th year in Lodi Unified. I started my career here at Oakwood. I was there for 3 years, and then I was at Millswood for 4. And frankly, for myself, and I live in Sacramento, work in school districts up there, it was at the point where I was kind of getting frustrated with the underperformance of too many of our students. And so I can appreciate Mr. Lambert and this gentleman here, you're speaking, I don't know your last name, sir, I'm sorry, about presenting information about the condition of our students given the A through G requirements. I can appreciate my colleagues presenting about looking at a block schedule to help better support those students. It's nice to know that we all care, right? Everyone cares. And it's important for us to continue to be creative and look for opportunities to help improve student performance and give kids a reason to want to be in school. Right? There were times when I was at, most recently at Millswood, and you're just cranking out D's and F's, D's and F's, D's and F's. And it gets debilitating, soul crushing after a while, because you feel like nothing you're doing is working, right? And the children want to succeed, but they don't feel like they can, or there's a significant disconnect. So I just needed to see, there had to be a different way. One of my former students who was at Oakwood called me, and I feel blessed to be able to maintain relationships with a lot of my students. He said, why don't you come over to VRA, there's a position open. I didn't know anything about VRA. I said, all right. So I went over, I met Dr. Khan and checked out the site. And it struck me as, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then she talked about things, what the students do and whatnot. And I can see after being there, this is closing on my second year, it's nice for kids who, as I've seen some that were at Mills with me, thrive in that environment. It's not easy. High school students are expected to be at college for their elective units. We're finishing a year's course in a semester, so we're pushing, right? But it's that opportunity, it's a different type of stimulus, it's a different type of environment, it's a different type of situation that is encouraging student success. I can think of one young man who, if he'd have went to the comprehensive high schools, he would have got demolished, right? He's awkward, he had a speech impediment, he's very loud, doesn't control his body very well. And he wound up graduating with 2 AAs and got pretty much a full ride to go to UC Santa Cruz. Another student at Millswood I had in 7th grade during the pandemic, he would never tune in. He was always had his monitor off, and he struggled 7th grade, 8th grade. Started with me at VRA last year. He's doing much, much better. He's actually attending college classes and thinking about what he wants to do, and he's doing well, which is nice. He's caring about his education. He's attending school better. I have another student who's a very, very awkward kid. He's having the time of his life over there. He's taken 3 classes already each semester, so he's going to finish up 6 classes, and he's a freshman. There's a lot of these situations. It's a hodgepodge of humanity over there. It's wild. Okay? It's absolutely wild. And it's nice to see all these different types of students, different backgrounds, different experiences succeeding. I'm not saying it's the only way, but it's nice to know that there are options and other ways, and that we can all continue to be creative and look for ways to encourage student success and opportunities. Not everyone may want to go to school. I was one of those horrible students. I barely graduated high school. I literally had to take adult school my senior year because I got kicked out of chemistry class. And my dad was a high achieving person. My dad was Green Beret, Special Forces. My mom worked in Medfield and whatnot, but I just wasn't connecting with school. I only went to school, college, because I saw the kids having fun at the football games. I said, I want to be there partying like those dudes. I was woefully underprepared. But luckily, my parents, I could read really well, so I went to junior college, did my thing, got in Sac State on condition, special admit, worked my way through it, and didn't even want to be a teacher because I didn't want to deal with the kid that I was. I'm like, no way, I'm not doing that job. But life has its own, thing for you. So I can resonate with a lot of the students that are struggling, that aren't connecting with things. Right? And if some opportunity, and I see kids, if we want them to be college and career ready, getting them exposed. Maybe our generation made a mistake by assuming everyone had to go right after high school and go, boom, and do that thing. Well, maybe some kid wants to be a mechanic and he takes a ceramics class at Delta and he likes ceramics, but he wants to be a mechanic. What's wrong with that, right? Maybe someone else wants to be in the med field, med tech, and they happen to enjoy art or English, and that's their spur to want to go to school. I think there's ways how we can look at that and what the value of a college education is, because it really should be about the experience and the opportunity to take advantage of whatever opportunities you can conceive, and we should be trying to better prepare them for that. So it's nice to see my colleagues trying to come up with different ideas. I see Mr. Lambert and the gentleman thinking of other ways to help children succeed. And it's good that we have a situation like Valley Robotics, and now we're promulgating that with independence and what we can create. And thank you for supporting that. I was not gonna lie, I was a little worried last year. I was thinking, man, are they gonna shut this down? It kind of seemed like, what's going on? So it was nice to see Mr. Young and Mr. Lambert come over there and be supportive and recognize and see the value of what's happening. And I encourage all of you to get a chance. Come over and see and talk to the kids. It's a really beautiful place, and I've really learned a lot being there in just these 2 short years, and I'm enthusiastic about what we have to offer. I could see another layer to this is internships. You know, last summer we had 7 kids. We were piloted with Growing Futures. We had seven students that did internships over the summer. Had a great time. They're all freshmen, they're sophomores now. So I asked all my class, how many of you guys would like to do an internship? All the hands went up, right? And it's just, okay, how can we be more supportive in encouraging that type of experience for kids? Our school was at one point partnering out with Growing Futures with the Lodi Wine Commission. And I'm meeting with the lady over there, and she says, in 20 years, if they don't encourage more students to get into agriculture, it's all gonna collapse out here. And that's a hard reality that I think this region, this community needs to address. There's not enough hotels, there's not enough bed and breakfasts, there's not enough high-end restaurants to attract people here. Because this route, I mean, what she said, 30% of Lodi grapes are sold in Napa. Lodi is a very, very integral part of the California economy. And it just doesn't have to be about agriculture. There's graphic design, technical things that kids can be. Think about a kid be a drone pilot, working with farmers out here, and they're doing all this surveying and all that type of stuff. There's so many layers to it besides just plowing fields and doing that. And some people want to do that, right? But if a context is 20 years from now, if they don't get this generation involved in this is over. And that's a sobering thought. And it should be one of the things that's driving everything that we're doing. Because as you said, you want students to want to stay invested in Lodi, right? You want students to want to feel like they're part of this and they can help develop this economy and thrive here. And we want them to feel like that. I come down from Sacramento. I love driving down here. I'm driving to orchards and vineyards and wineries. It's a great commute. I'm seeing those poor folks going back the other way and traffic jams coming and going. I'm happy with this, right? And so it's a great place. And furthermore, let me add this. Now I'll read this statement here. I hope I have a little more time. You know, when I told my friends I was going to Lodi, and they're like, what? Like, what? There's no brothers down there. I said, this community has done a really good job. I've worked in several districts. At one point, I was the only brother in the entire district. That was an interesting experience. I really appreciate the diversity that you have encouraged here and sought out at your staff. I've never seen as many, I hate to say that word, but I'll just say it just because people of color. Everyone's got color. But specifically, I've seen a lot of brothers here in leadership positions, a lot of teachers that when I started at Oakwood, there were 5 black teachers on campus. There had been 5 black teachers in entire districts where I've been. And that's commendable. That's commendable. And it's something I think to build on. It's something to value. I think, you know, there's an opportunity here to do great things. And it's nice to see my colleagues and district people really trying to figure out how can we try to encourage student achievement. And I roll with my union. I truly respect what we're about. And it's a tough job, right? It's a tough job. And everyone cares. I can tell you this, my former students call me all the time. And I was telling a colleague one time, I said, what would it be like for me to live like some other parents do, who only have their own children in their headspace? Because my entire life, I've always had other kids, my entire adult life, other children in your head all the time. And this is what goes with the territory, and it's cool, it's not a curse. I think it's a blessing. So with that being said, let me go ahead and run this down real quick. So our staff is requesting board feedback to facilitate a unified campus at the Extension Road Complex. That includes Valley Robotics Academy, Digital Academy, and Independence. The site staff and administration propose forming a committee of stakeholders to rename and refresh the site brand, because we definitely move beyond just Valley Robotics. The committee will include certificated staff, classified staff, parents, students, and administration. We'd like to use surveys, staff meetings, and community forums to reach out to all stakeholders. The committee will determine the top named nominations, and the committee will get feedback for the top named nominations from all stakeholders to determine the future name for this unified school site while maintaining each distinct school. So, that's my statement.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we just want to make sure that the board is good with us moving forward with that direction. And any comments? Not a vote, it's just getting direction.
I just have a quick comment. Mr. Woodford, thank you. And so Mr. Lambert and Mr. Sandstrom too. But that kid who took ceramics class but wants to be a mechanic should be a dentist. You do good. Just as you were talking, so many words that you spoke came up. I thought, what a great way to put those two schools into one umbrella. Take it to the committee, the Student Success Complex, the Thrive Complex. Those are my ideas. Take him and please ideas. Suggest it to your committee.
I just said, let's just get it done, come back with a great idea. We're all in, I think. Get it done.
I just wanted to quickly say, when you're looking at the concept idea, I think you basically were in my head, but I also want to make sure that we do homage to our community. That we think about our surrounding ag lands, farmlands, all the people that have done phenomenal things for our district and our community. So I'm broadening the scope, sorry. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, and finally, we have the Lodi High School pool naming committee. I see our athletic director spent the whole evening here thinking that this is going to go fast. Did you know you were going to be last? So,
I thought it was first.
I had a conversation with the principal about that.
Lodi High School is always first, even when they're
Never not.
Good evening, President Knackstedt, Superintendent Young, members of the board. Again, I am Peter Lambert, the Area Director for Area 2. It's my pleasure to bring before you today our staff from Lodi High School who would like to thank you again for the new pool location at Lodi High School. We would also like to thank Tokay High School for hosting Lodi during the time that Lodi's pool was under renovation. And at this time, again, we would like to form a committee, get feedback from the board and some guidance as we look at naming the pool and the pool facility. At this time, I will turn it over to our principal at Lodi High School, Dr. Jesus Marone.
Good evening again, Board President Knackstedt, Board Trustees, Superintendent Young. As a new principal at Lodi, when I first came on board, I was presented with many things. The first thing I was presented, you're going to be getting a brand new aquatic center swimming pool. So after 2 years of renovation, finally in October, we were given the pool to be used. And so during this time, I've been asked many times from the community and from our teachers in regards to the naming of the pool. Are we going to name this pool after someone who's a former student, a coach? We've been tasked with pursuing this. And so as a new principal, I said, well, I'm new to the community. I'm learning still the community, so I don't think it'd be fair for me to take this on and so what I decided was I'm going to go ahead and speak and work with Mr. Duenas, who is our athletic director, who is a student graduate from Lodi, who has a lot of the history of the pool, and so he will be assisting in leading the committee that will be facilitating the name of the aquatic center. So he's here with us today. Tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Marone, and good evening, Board President Knackstedt, Superintendent Young, Board Trustees, and Cabinet. My name is George Duenas, and I'm the current athletic director at Lodi High. I also teach physical education. I've been in this district for the past 6 years. Like I said, I'm also a proud graduate of Lodi High, class of 2006. Being from Lodi, Lodi is a place of tradition. There are many generations of families and pride in our community, and this enthusiasm applies to our school district and our school. As a Lodi High alumni, I could not be more proud of what I do and where I work. With the great renovation of the aquatic center, it's beautiful. Like Dr. Lambert said, we're very grateful for Tokay to host us for all those years. Lodi is a big swimming town. So when the pool was opened, many people from the community had reached out to rename the pool. There's been some great names out there. I've never renamed anything, so I went to Dr. Marone. So I was just joking around, let's just say flip a coin, name it Duenas or Marone Pool. But knowing that with the pride in our community, I just wanted to have kind of a structure, because there is gonna be some other renovations on our campus, so there may be other opportunities for naming a complex in the future, so, and I plan to be in Lodi Unified for a while, so obviously I want to be part of those future conversations. So I asked Dr. Marone to help me. He has been part of this process at his other sites, and he told me to talk to these two to form a committee. In our committee, we're going to request current students, alumni, staff, both teachers and certificated staff, or classified staff, admin and community members. I'm just here to see if there's any guidance that the board may want us to pursue on naming the pool and any future naming of athletic facilities that you may want us to use as we form our committee. But again, I'm very happy to be here and very grateful for the project and the taxpayers for what we have received at Lodi High. In 6 years, I've seen a lot of change from the old building that I graduated to our beautiful new campus. So, yeah, we're looking forward to more changes, and thank you.
All right.
I'm so happy that you're going to do this because it's warranted. The committee that you have, I'd just like to make a request on 2 non-student athletes, boy, girl, and 2 athletes, boy, girl. Okay, so they can all get involved. They can be swimmers or non-swimmers or whatever it is, but those are the things that, as my experience been, you have to include them, both sexes, and you'll find, okay, Title IX will take care of all that other stuff, okay? But I'm glad that you are, George, I've never met you before, but good football coach when you had football there, and glad that you're in the committee to ramrod this naming of the pool.
I'd just like to mention that I coached at Lodi High School for 37 years, so as an athletic director. So my name might be a good No? Oh, okay. Any other comments?
Yeah, I have comments.
That'll be the blow-up pool that they put next to it.
Yeah.
I don't think Connect will be on there. I just have one quick question. Is it possible, again, this is just me, and maybe some other people have brought it up, that we name the pool one situation and then the facility another name as well, to honor 2 sets of people? So the pool would have its own name, and then the facility would have its own name.
That's kind of cool.
There's nothing that would preclude that from
just,
happening.
these are the guys in charge. I'm not putting my name in the hat. I don't want to be named.
No, I'm just saying there's nothing that would preclude the committee from following through with naming both.
Like Gary, I did coach there, and I did win a section title, but that's okay.
That'll be the end of blow-up pool.
No, my name is out of it completely.
No, you have to read the policy. It says you have to avoid naming the people who are sitting around.
Oh.
People who go on are the ones that
Anyway, that was an idea.
Yeah, and we spoke about that. I think that's one of the main things we're gonna put out there, because like I said, there's a lot of names that have been brought with our swimming community. Your was one of them.
No, I don't want to be in the list at all.
No, but
There's another
again,
pool, maybe.
so, but yes, I think that's probably one of the main things, because to be able to honor 2 in our great community, the more the better.
Thank you very much for all your time.
Good luck.
Any other comments?
And make sure Connect has been excluded.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
That's right, 2 meeting letters, that's the only one. Okay, board advisory reports. Anything? No? Any comments from board members at all? I need a motion. Oh, you have a comment?
Just one thing, I want to salute our teachers and administrators for bringing forward, we kind of glossed over it, our A through G. We're at 31. It's counties at 35, 52, but they said in their summary that we want to be ahead of the county and even with the state. And I congratulate them on that goal, and anything we can do as a board to support you in that movement on A through G. And the comments earlier about the traffic on Elm Street, it is bad.
It's always been bad.
And we're just holding our breath every time that street, because we have so many schools, there's not a fatality. And I was driving in here tonight, and there was I guess a car ran over one of the housing challenge people, and I make sure I say that correctly, on ramp to 99. And they had closed that off, and that's happened a couple times. So Lodi City has some issues, and they're affecting our schools, and our schools need to step up and tell the city, hey, we need your help. So it's an issue. And kudos to everybody for bringing the data forward. I love it. I love that we're going to start making goals and getting ahead of the county and the state. That's what we need to do.
Anita, okay, you have a comment?
I have a comment, just a quick comment that Ann touched bases on tonight. I've received several emails about the frustration that teachers are having over the units and everything like that, and I'm looking forward to talking to Mr. Young and Dr. Dosey about this, because there's nothing worse than being frustrated when you're trying to move across the salary schedule and to get maybe, I don't know, I remember when I was teaching, it was nice to take classes that were entertaining that I thought I could use in my classroom and help other students, kind of enhance my curriculum. None of them were going towards a master's per se, but it was nice to have that option, knowing that I was going to use them. So I look forward to having some resolve there, because that's bad. And I wanted to say I was very pleased to hear about the TA with CSCA. I'm sorry that you weren't happy as in that regard, but movement forward is always good.
That it? Need a motion?
I move.
Second.
Okay, I think you moved to close this up. Adjourn. Okay, we're out of here then. Thank you.